Hello guys, it is Unders. I hope the day is finding you well. So today what we're having a look at is the T-Rex version of the Leslie cabinet from ik.multimedia. Now if you've just come here and you want to hear some noises from the Leslie, skip to whatever time I've placed on the screen right about now. What we're going to do first is just explain really quickly what a Leslie cabinet is, because at the moment, if you've never seen it or understood it, you're not really going to have any concept of what's on the screen and what's going on. So essentially, Leslie cabinet was something developed for the organ sound. And if you think of sort of a vintage type organ sound, now it has like that wobble and flow to it that makes it a little bit bigger and wider, and it's the Doppler effect being applied via a Leslie cabinet. If we use IK's little version here and we zoom it right in because voodoo magic lets us, and if we click on the back of the cabinet, it's going to flip it around for us, and we can see in the top here we've got these two horns spinning around, and at the bottom we've got like a big block spinning around. Effectively what's going on, the tweeter here pushes up into these two horns and they're spinning round, and that creates the Doppler effect, which alters the pitch ever so slightly. If you've ever heard like a police car goes past you and the siren kind of goes up in pitch and then fades away in pitch. It's because of the Doppler effect. When the sound's coming towards you at speed, the waves compress together, adjusting the pitch. When it goes away from you, they spread apart, lowering the pitch. This effect works by spinning the horns around here. So the tweeter feeds into these, and these are spinning round. And then we mic them up left and right to get that effect. On the flip side of it, our sub or woofer section, whatever you want to call it, does a similar thing, but it goes into mono by being fed into this big square. And that's why we don't mic that left and right, we just mic that with like a stereo pair to the back of it in most situations. And it's doing the same sort of thing. So that essentially is what a Leslie cabinet is. And you'll find in lots of cases, you already have it in a DAW to some description. So here I've just got the Logic organ. And by default, you see how it's made to look like wood. And we've got the horns just at the top here. We can actually see them. If we click Rotary cabinet, got a really similar thing going on here. We've got our little circular one just mono mic'd up and this mic'd up here, and we can play around and change the settings inside there to get the same sort of feel. What I wanted to do is just do a quick comparison on here. So we've got this organ sound in. It is the preset bebop organ, but I am going to turn the cabinet on and off when we engage the Leslie. So I just want you to have a little listen to what's going on. So we'll have it off and then we'll engage it, so you can hear what the Rotary cabinet is doing. Cool, so you hear what the Rotary cabinet's doing, and it pushed a lot over to the left there on this particular set of keys. Hey, we'd have to fix that while we were setting up the patch. But that's essentially what it's doing. It's creating that Doppler effect, splitting the frequency between high and low, and it gives you just a wider, bigger sound. And this was initially what it was aimed at. And nowadays you can feed just about anything into it, and now we've got something like this in T-Rex. It's pretty damn awesome. So ik.multimedia have completely recreated the circuitry, so the amp that feeds into it, and then I believe it was Suzuki and Leslie have done the different cabinet modulation, done the different cabinet emulations, and bringing the two together gives us a faithful recreation of the Leslie. I do not have any of these models in my tiny little studio to compare, but I'll be honest, they're sounding fantastic, and it absolutely crushes the organ that is with Logic by default. So this is just the default patch that you load up. One thing I have changed, I've dropped the output here by 5 dB because it adds so much harmonic and resonance, and this is quite a bassy, or this sound has got a lot of low end to it. It was reinforcing quite a lot. So it was boosting up by about 5 dB. So the only thing I've changed is I've gained it down. Otherwise, a 5 decibel increase all of a sudden gives you that perception of louder is better, and I didn't want that. So this is with the bebop organ and the cabinet internally to the organ turned off, and we're just going to play through, and then I'll engage the Leslie cabinet, and just, I'll be honest, it's going to sell itself. It sounds fantastic. How's that for added warmth? So all of that harmonics and resonance and everything that comes from the circuitry modulation, circuitry emulation even, and then the cabinet itself adding different resonances and frequencies and the way it's mic'd up. Oh, it's beautiful. I'm really, really impressed by this, especially when you compare it to the Leslie that's included inside here, just as like the rotary cabinet. So like if we just go between the two here, tell you what, we'll copy the channel. We'll have one where it's engaged and one where it's not. So the one at the top here is the organ with the cabinet turned off and the Leslie engaged, and the one below that's renamed to Steinway has got the Leslie off, but the organ itself has got the rotary cabinet on. So we're just going to A/B between the two, and it's just such a difference. We don't even need to really compare it any further than that. The ik.multimedia one is just adding loads of warmth and yumminess. I'm really impressed with it. There's a whole bunch of features that you can play around with in terms of the setup. Like we can adjust the spring tension, we can adjust the mic distances, which is really nice, to how far it's mic'd up. That gives a real change to the sound as well. Check this out. The spring tension's crazy too. Can adjust the speed, mic it up really far away. Can then also go into the amp, and we can change a lot of the settings within that as well. I'm not going to go over all of them, we haven't got time in this little video. And then it's got an EQ applied to it as well. As you've then got separate panning and adjustments for your mic levels on your different 4 different mic positions there as well, which is really nice. So if you wanted to mono the bottom section, for example, you can just take one out and entirely and central it, or even center both. You're probably going to get some phasing issues doing that though. What I wanted to do lastly was I've just thrown a beat in and put it on the just standard electric piano, so your Rhodes type sound that is in Logic, and you know the difference it makes here is ridiculous as well. So let's throw it on here, dip it by about 5 dB again. To manually adjust, you can click on the values and just do like -5, it will drop 5 dB, which is ace. And let's just check this out with it off. Now, without any tweaking, playing around and adjusting it at all, straight away, really nice sound. Reminds me of the Doors Riders on the Storm type sound. That I'm pretty sure this will be what they did on the Rhodes 88 on that. I'm just going to loop this now and just flick through some of the presets just so we can have a listen to how it changes without me having to manually go through and flick through a bunch of changes. Guys, that was a quick overlook at the new Leslie cabinet from ik.multimedia. Now, it is available as well in the Amplitude suite of plugins, and we will have a look at that further down the line. And if you guys would like to see a more in-depth breakdown of this, how to set it up, what each feature does, throw it in the comments down below, and I will put that together for you guys. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing, and I will see you on the next one.
Thank you.